All right, we are starting Unit 5 today, and the first thing we are going to be doing in this unit is reviewing a little bit about measuring and drawing angles. So right now what I want you to start thinking is, what do I remember about angles? And the first things we're going to be looking at here, just to refresh your memory, is that we have acute angles, we have right angles, and we also today are going to be talking about obtuse angles. All of these are things that you should probably remember. Something you may not remember would be reflex angles. Now right now this looks like it's acute, but really we're measuring this side. So that's a reflex angle. And we'll also be looking at good old straight angles. Okay, so jumping right in, turn to page 162 in your math journal, and you're going to be doing some work here along with me to help you review. So, looking at classifying these angles first, which of the above angles is a right angle? First thing we're looking for is a right angle. All right angles measure exactly the same amount, and you'll look and you'll notice this little box on the inside as well. So all right angles look like letter E, so go ahead and write down E as your answer. Number 2, which of the above angles is an acute angle? Acute angles are any angle that measures less than 90 degrees but more than 0 degrees. Obviously 0 degrees we don't have anything, so anything that is between those two numbers, which leaves us with C, is our acute angle. Now looking for a reflex angle. Think back to that first drawing that I did. A reflex angle, as you can kind of think of it as the opposite of an acute angle. So if I'm actually looking here, it looks like there's a little acute angle right there, but we're measuring on the outside of it, 323 degrees. So our reflex angle is letter B, angle B. Our obtuse angle, anything more than 90 degrees, so more than a right angle, but less than a straight angle. So we have letter A, which leaves us with our straight angle, letter D. Straight angles also have all the same measure. Those all measure 180 degrees. All of these things should be written down in your math journal now. All right, continuing on page 162, we're just going to scoot on down the page here, and we need to use our protractor. Now you can see that you have a full circle protractor. I have a half circle protractor right here. It doesn't make a difference right now, but you're going to measure each angle to the nearest degree. So I'm going to zoom in as much as I can, and you should have your geometry template out, or your protractor actually, and looking at angle Q right here. So this little line on the inside indicates that we're measuring that inside angle, not the outside angle. So we're going to take our protractor, and it's a little tricky with this one, but I'm supposed to line it up on the dot. And then you can see that that bottom line, that 0, is perfectly lined up there. And as I'm looking, this is where a lot of you have had questions. As I'm looking, people have said, well, which number do I use? Do I use the 120 number, or do I use the 60 number? Well, that's where we need to know a little bit about angles, like we already talked about. We can see that this is a smaller angle. It's less than 90 degrees, so that makes it an acute angle. And acute angles are always bigger than 0, but less than 90. So looking at that, it couldn't be 120. It means that this has to be about 60 degrees. So that's what you're going to write down here. That angle Q measures about 60 degrees. And don't forget your little degree symbol. All right, now here's where it gets a little interesting, because it tells you that you need a full circle protractor. I don't have one, so I'm going to show you actually how to measure that angle without having a full circle protractor. So we already know that a full circle is how many degrees? 360 degrees. So if we know what part of that circle measures, this part, I can tell for sure what the other portion of that angle measures. So what I'm going to do, because my protractor isn't big enough to measure this angle Y over here, so I'm actually going to flip it, and I'm going to just measure this inside angle here of this reflex angle. So I'm lining it up, And it looks like, now I'm upside down for you guys, but it looks like I'm at about 50 degrees, so that's my answer. Today for your assignment, you have Math Journal pages 162 to finish that up, 163, and 165. You also have a study link, 5.1, where you'll be doing some measuring, classifying angles. And you have IXL CC2. All right, go ahead and get to work.